Hi everyone, it's Jennifer from Flux. Welcome back to the 2021 Summer Crochet Along. We are doing the Summer Spa Getaway collection, and in this crochet along, each week during the event, we're going to be making a different spa item. Today we're going to be doing this spa back scrubby. So the idea is you hold the handles and put it behind you and kind of scrub your back. So this is a really fun piece to have as part of the collection. We've made a bunch of other things, and if you hop on over to the blog, you can check them all out as well. And we're going to be making a simple rectangle today, and we're going to be using the same closed shell stitch that we've been using for some of the other projects, and we're going to be using the same color. So at the end, whatever you choose to make, if you make them all, if you make a couple, they're all going to coordinate and match. And this is really easy to make. We're going to start by making the rectangle, and then we're going to learn how to add these nice little handles at either end to be able to hold on to. Now, before we get started, be sure and hop on over to our Ravelry group and our Facebook group. That's our CAL groups, and that's where all of our CAL makers hang out. You can show off your work, you can ask questions. It's a really fun, positive place if you're working on the crochet along projects with us. I'll put those links down below. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, a ruler or tape measure is super helpful to get the length of the back scrubby that you like if you want a custom length. We're also going to be using a 5mm H crochet hook. Now, as a side note, we're using the 5mm H hook for all the projects in our spa collection. So, and also this is my Furls Odyssey hook. I'll put the link down below if you would like to get one for yourself as well. For our yarn, again, we're going to be using the same yarn that we've used for our spa collection as well. I'm going to be using a little bit of each color today from our collection. The yarn that I've been using is Lion Brand's 24/7 cotton. I'm going to be using the Aqua, which is this one, the Ecru, which is like a cream color, and the Lilac, which is like a kind of like a deep dusty purple color. And we're going to be using a little bit of each because I wanted to make mine striped. Now, you can make yours all one color. It's completely up to you, but I did want to make mine stripey. So, but if you'd like to change yarn, just look for medium 4 cotton yarn. And I wanted to mention too that this particular yarn, the 24/7 cotton, recommends a 4mm G crochet hook, but for all of our projects I went up to the 5mm H crochet hook because these are spa items, and I'm doing that so that the stitches can kind of open up and hopefully dry quicker than if we used a smaller hook, okay? So that's my reasoning for doing that. But again, the Aqua, the Ecru, and the Lilac for this one because I'm going to do stripes. Now you can do solid, you could do a color block. It's completely up to you, okay? So let's get started. All right, I have my hook and my yarn. We're going to put these two aside for now, but I will show you later in the video how to switch colors when you're ready. So we're going to start with this purple. And we're not going to worry about the 2 handles on either side yet. We're going to just make this the rectangular strip first. So we are going to do the same closed shell stitch that we've done for a lot of the other projects. So it sort of looks like a matching set. Our closed shell stitch has a multiple of 6 plus 1. So if you're not familiar with that concept, all that means is when you're doing your starting chain, you want to do 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 and so forth in groups of 6 until you get the width that you need, and then you'll add one more chain onto that. We're going to do a starting chain of 19, okay? So if you want to change the width of your piece, just know it's a multiple of 6 plus 1, okay? So to begin, we're going to put a slip knot on our hook. Wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Bring the yarn behind the loop. Reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Next, we're going to chain 19. And let me just come in a tiny bit more so you can see. So to make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, okay? So here is our starting chain. Now for row 1, what we're going to do is in the 4th chain from the hook, so this loop here does not count, that's on our hook now. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in that fourth chain from the hook, we're going to work 2 double crochets into that chain. To make a double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, insert it into that chain, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on the hook. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. So that was 1 double crochet. And we're going to put a second double crochet in that same chain, just like that. Then we're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and in the chain after that, we're going to work a single crochet. So to do a single crochet, insert the hook into that chain, bring up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook this time. Wrap yarn around the hook, bring it through both loops, okay? We're going to skip 2 chains, and in the chain after that, we're going to put 4 double crochets into that chain. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, and 4 double crochet, just like that, okay? Then we're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and in the chain after that, work a single crochet, okay? We're getting our little shells established here. Then we're going to skip 2 chains, and in the chain after that, we're going to work 4 double crochet. So 1, 2, a little bit more yarn here, 3, whoops, I missed my loop here. Let's do that third one again. If something doesn't work out the way you want it to, just pull it out and redo it. It's no big deal. Okay, that was 3, and then 4. And then we have 3 chains left. We're going to skip 2 chains, and in that very last chain, we're going to work a single crochet to complete row 1, okay? So here is row 1. We have a couple little shells going, and we're ready for row 2. When we complete row 1, that really gives you an idea of the width that we're going to have for the final piece, okay? So if you're really not sure about the width that you want, try working up row 1. That will give you the best idea. Okay, so for the next row, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. Now, in this first single crochet from the previous row, it's like a loop at the base of this chain. We're going to work 2 double crochets into that first stitch there. So let me redo that. I dropped it. So let's try that again. 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work a single crochet in the center of this next shell. So remember our shells were 4 double crochets. We're going to go right in the middle of them. So there should be 2 on this side and 2 on this side. And in between them is a space. So right in that space, we're going to work our single crochet, just like that. Okay? All right, let's move down the line here. We're going to hop over to the next spot. In between the shells is a single crochet from the previous row. We're going to work 4 double crochets into that single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so our shells will be sort of like nestled in between each other. All right, hop over to the next shell, and remember, we're going to go in between that shell. So 2 double crochets on this side, and then a space, and then 2 double crochets on that side. So right in that space there, work your single crochet, and then go in between the next 2 shells, and there'll be a single crochet stitch in between them. Work 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like that. And then finally, to complete the row, what we're going to do is go to the very end, and you'll have a turning chain. When we did our turning chain and turned our work, you're going to go in that turning chain space. So you'll see 2 double crochets here at the end, and then you'll have your turning chain right at that space next to your turning chain. We're going to work a single crochet in the turning chain space. So go right in that space, work your single crochet, and row 2 is complete. So what you're going to do for the rest of your back scrubby is to continue with row 2 over and over and over again until your piece is as long as you would like it to be. Now, when I say that, I'll give you some dimensions once this grows a little bit more, but you should be able, when it's done, we're going to have a handle here, and we're going to have a handle at the other end. You should be able to grab the handle and scrub your back with it from side to side. It shouldn't be too short, and you shouldn't have to strain your arms to do it, okay? It should be something you kind of throw over your shoulder, grab the other handle, and scrub. So you want it to be long enough. So if you're making this for a child, it could be a little bit shorter. If you're making this for an adult, you want it to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to continue and work a few more rows though, until we're ready to switch to another color. So I'm going to grab my other colors of yarn here. I'm going to show you how to switch colors, and then we're going to depart and make this long rectangular strip and then rejoin and add the handle. So work a few more rows, and you can really, we've worked 2 rows of shells so far. So keep repeating row 2 over and over and over again, and when you're ready to switch colors, I'll show you how to do that next. Okay, so I worked 4 rows of the shell stitch, and again, we're just repeating row 2 from here on out. So what I want to do now is switch colors. Now you can make your stripes a little bit thicker or narrower. It's totally up to you, but I'm going to do 4 rows of each color. All right, so go ahead when you're ready and cut the yarn. And of course, you can make it one solid color all the way down too. And we're just going to wrap the yarn around the hook and fasten off. Now grab the next color that you'd like to use. I'm going to grab the aqua so you can see it. And what we're going to do is that stitch that we just worked, that last stitch there, go ahead and insert your hook into that stitch. Let me zoom in so you can see. And then what we're going to do is hook the new yarn on and bring it through. And then we're just going to tie it right onto our project. Now, if you have a different way that you like to join yarn, please feel free to do that. There's lots of different ways to do it. And we're going to just not worry about those tails right now. We'll weave those in later. And we're going to go back into that same stitch that we worked, bring up a loop, and now we're ready to go again, okay? So you just keep repeating row 2. So just as a refresher, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn your work, and you can just keep crocheting as normal, but you have a new color. Now this particular stitch, this closed shell stitch that we're doing, looks really fun when you switch the colors like this because it really shows off those shells. So when you start working the stitch, it's really fun when you start adding stripes of color, okay? So just keep repeating row 2 over and over and over again, and then when we rejoin, I'll show you how long I made my strip, and then we're going to add some handles also. Okay, just coming up to that last stitch of the row. And then what we're going to do, instead of fastening off, we're going to put a handle on either end, okay? So I just wanted to show you what we have so far. Let me zoom out so you can see it. We have a nice rectangular strip, and we're going to take care of these ends next. But we have a nice rectangular strip, and I just wanted to show you, I made mine about 15 inches long. Now you can make your rectangle part longer if you want more ease of use for wrapping it around yourself. But I thought 15 inches was good for mine, but you can make it longer if you like. So what we're going to do now, instead of fastening off, we're going to make a long chain, and then we're going to attach it to this other side, okay? So start chaining, and you can make the handle long, you can make it short. Okay, so I worked 26 chains, and you can see it's nice and long. It makes a nice handle. So we're going to come down to the other side of our rectangle, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to connect it, okay? So go in that turning chain space on the other side, insert the hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook. And then in that same space, we're also going to work a single crochet. So insert the hook into that same space, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around the hook, bring it through both loops. Now, our handle is a little bit flimsy if you just do a chain. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work, and we're going to sort of reinforce it and thicken it up a little bit, okay? So in each chain across, we're going to work a single crochet. So begin by working that first chain that you see, and work a single crochet, and work a single crochet into the next chain, and we're going to do this all the way across our little handle. And what that's going to do is reinforce it a little bit. Okay, so just work single crochets all the way across. Okay, I came all the way across with my single crochet stitches, and now I'm just going to work the last couple of stitches here. All right, so when you get to the end, we have our row here, and we need to kind of join it back down and anchor it down. So go into that same turning chain space that you worked before and work a slip stitch to sort of anchor it back down. Now, if you have trouble where, let me just move my hook so you can see. If you're having trouble where it's just sort of floating or it's not anchored down looking, you could also go down a little bit farther or over here into that shell if it doesn't look sturdy at the bottom, if it's just kind of like dangling by a few pieces of yarn. So now our handle looks nice and sturdy, and it's going to be a little bit stronger when you go to use it. So let's get our hook back in there, because what we're going to do now is cut the yarn, and we're going to fasten off. And then we need to put a handle on the other side. So we're going to go back down. Oh, and I meant to mention, when I worked my rectangle, I ended on the same colors. So I started on purple and I ended on purple because I wanted my handles to be the same colors. But if you don't need to do that, that's okay too. It's totally up to you, but I liked that little detail. Okay, so go to the other end of your piece, and we're going to take care of these ends in just a minute. But you're going to go down to the other end, and actually I want to weave this end out of the way so it's not interfering with our handle. This one is going to be where we anchor it down, so I do want to get this one. Thread your tapestry needle and then just go in to your piece in one direction, just like this with your needle, and then come back in the other direction with your tail. We're just getting that one out of the way. We'll take care of the other ones in a minute, but this one would be in our way a little bit. And then you can cut the yarn, being careful not to snip your project, and then that one's out of the way. Okay, so let's go back down to here. What we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to flip it over, and we're going to take our yarn, and we're going to go into one of these spaces here. I'm going to go into the side space, and we're going to hook the new yarn on, and we're going to bring it through, and we're just going to tie it on. We don't have a yarn end, so we have to, like we did before where we ended the project, so we have to create one by just tying some new yarn on. So I just tied it right onto that side space there. And then what we're going to do is reinsert our hook back into that space, bring up a loop, and then we're going to do our chains. So do the same number of chains that you did on this side, and then we're going to reinforce it with our single crochet stitches. Okay, I worked my chains, and now I'm going to take it back down to the other side here. I have a little space I'm going to work it into, and just connect it with a slip stitch like we did before. And now we're going to do our single crochets. You can work, it's up to you, but you can work that first single crochet in that same space just to give it a more solid look as it connects. If you don't have that problem with yours, you can just start working into the chains, but it's up to you. All right, so if you need to turn your chain, twist it back towards you a little bit to work into it, you know, go ahead and do that. But we're just going to work single crochets in each chain all the way across our little handle here. So go ahead and do that. Work your single crochets all the way across. Okay, I worked my single crochets across, and now I'm going to work a slip stitch into that same turning chain space where we began to anchor it back down on this side. So go ahead and cut your yarn when you're finished, and then you can fasten off. Just make sure you have the correct tail, because you will have a tail from where you began. And then just pull that through. Okay, and now we have two handles. So you can kind of straighten it out a little bit as well. Get everything nice and flat. Okay, so the last thing we need to do, we have two handles, everything looks great, but the last thing we need to do is take care of our tails. Now, we just did one a minute ago, so you're just going to do the same thing, but when you have stripes like this, I just wanted to mention, I'm just going to grab a random tail here. Make sure when you weave it in that you, like this is an aqua color tail, you want to go into the aqua section to weave it in, otherwise you'll have this aqua line traveling through another color. Also, our back scrubby, when you use it, it's reversible, and so you'll want to make sure when you do your tails that you sort of stay in the middle of your stitches. So go in the middle of those plies. Try not to go too far on either side, front or back. Just kind of go into, and these shells sort of create little tunnels, and you can kind of go in those. But just try to keep it nice and neat on both sides though, because it is reversible. So I'm going to go in one direction, and then I'm going to take my tail back in the other direction just to kind of lock it into place. All right, just bringing that back, and then we're going to grab our scissors, give everything a little snip, and then you just want to repeat it for the rest of your tails. So our back scrubby is complete. It looks awesome. It has two cute little handles. We wove in all the ends, and that's it. That's how you make this simple little spa back scrubby. Now before we go, make sure to hop on the Ravelry group and the Facebook group and join in and see what all the other makers are doing, see what colors they're using. If you need help, you can hop on there too. The links are below. And that's it. That's how you crochet this spa back scrubby. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.